Nobody wants to be in a financing that pushes the share price down like it did for us, but we believe we're in the strongest position of anyone else. Other people are going to be going to the market probably quite soon, and we wanted to be there sooner than they were. This announcement by the government to buy uranium, no one is in a better position to capitalize on that than Energy Fuels.
Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. First of all, thanks very much for watching this video. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up. And I know there's going to be a lot of comments, so don't forget to leave those below. We'll get back to absolutely everyone. And if you haven't already done so, please click the subscription button in the corner. And if you want to see more videos like this, click the notification bell. We had a chance to catch up with Mark Chalmers, CEO of Energy Fuels today. They did a raise, a deal about a week ago, which they announced. People wondered why. Surely far too dilutive and damaging to the company. He answers us in great detail. Take a look in the description below, and you can click on the relevant timestamp to go to the specific areas that we discuss. Anyway, let's hear what Mark had to say. How you doing, Mark? How are you?
Very good, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, good. How's your week been? Been tough?
Oh, it's been busy with closing the financing. Been a very busy week for us.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to ask you the same question. You probably answered a lot since you put out the news release about a week ago, which was why did you do it and why those terms?
Well, Matt, it was expensive money, but as I've said to you multiple times, I said to our shareholders, we want to be on the front foot rather than the back foot. We're very encouraged with the announcement that the government's planning to buy uranium again. Now, it's the first time they've been buying or planning to buy uranium since like 1983. And so we want to be as ready as we can be for that because we think we're best positioned to capitalize on that. But the other thing that probably a number of people didn't understand or realize that we had a convertible debenture that matures at the end of 2020, and it became a current liability at the beginning of this year. So we wanted to be in the position that we could show that we had enough funds to cover that at our own own terms and own abilities without having the convertible drive us. We want to be in a position to drive the convertible. Okay.
But that convertible, did that contribute towards Cantor being able to negotiate quite tough terms with you now? I get the point that if you didn't, your negotiation stance towards the end of the year is going to be pretty difficult. I've been there myself, but were they pushing you hard now because they could?
No, look, it was our decision. We weren't being pushed. We discussed it certainly at board level quite extensively. And we just decided that, again, it was going to be better to go now and get the funds and be ready for the future. So, but no, look, it's nobody wants to get into a financing that, and I want to say that it was a bought deal. It was straight common shares, no warrants. But nobody wants to be in a financing that pushes the share price down like it did for us. But again, we believe we're in the strongest position of anyone else, and we think there's other people are going to be going to the market probably quite soon, and we wanted to be there sooner than they were. And and as I said, this announcement by the government to buy uranium, no one is in a better position to capitalize on that than Energy Fuels.
Okay, lots of questions. Sorry, and I'm going to throw these at you in no particular order. Okay, you keep saying the word front foot. What do you mean by that? Are you talking about being able to capitalize on the DOE announcement? In which case, what do you know that we don't?
Yeah. No, I think that the demand and no, we haven't heard the whole story yet out of the working group on terms of the whole 3 steps of the nuclear fuel cycle. So we're still hopeful that there's more to come here, but we want to be in a position that right now the government's announced that this $150 million of this this strategic reserve, we want to be in the position to get the majority or at least a large share of that ahead of there's going to be a lot of competition for it, but no one has the history, the proven history, and the facilities like we do. UR Energy's in a pretty good spot too because they're a proven producer, but we are in the best position to deliver into that initiative.
Okay, so you're making a bet. You don't know anything that the market doesn't know. Just so I'm clear.
Correct.
Okay.
We have released everything we know about where we are in this process and where the government is in this process. But there have been statements through Secretary Briette and others that there should be additional information forthcoming on the working group's findings in the next few weeks or so.
And you're expecting more money to be...
But we've also been waiting for a couple of years for information flow, and it's been delay.
Okay, but you're expecting more money to be mentioned in these future announcements, or more confirmation on the 150 million?
Yeah, I mean, look, we think that the nuclear fuel worker, and I'm speculating a bit here, agrees that they need to do something to reestablish the nuclear fuel cycle, the front three steps through enrichment. So we believe that they've come up with findings. I don't know exactly what those findings are, Matt, but we, as I said, what we do know is what they have released, and we want to be in the best position to capitalize on that than anyone else. Okay,
and I want to talk about use of proceeds in a second, but if you don't mind, so what is your position now? Because when we've talked in the past, you've had about $40 million between cash and inventory. You've topped it up with another 16.6 million US. What position are you with regards to your cash today? I know you've got the convert coming through, but what does it look like today?
Yeah, look, we're going to announce our financials in March. But yeah, in the order of magnitudes that you're talking about, in the 40s, plus this capital raise, you've got the convert at the end of the year. We've got around 20 million of that is inventory. About half in value is uranium that we value at around $25 a pound. And about half is vanadium that we're valuing at $5 a pound, which incidentally is back coming up a little bit. It's last I saw it was in the sevens. Yeah, in the sevens. So we're hoping that we'll get another kick there.
But you're not tempted to sell any of the vanadium today? Because it has been as low as 3, it has been as high as 30, but what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Look at, I've said to you that, we're trying to do the carbide plan, which is to have inventories that we can deploy when we want to deploy it quickly. And a big part of our plan, our strategy, is to have inventories available, packaged, ready to go. And that's another reason for the financing, because if you had, say, in the order of $40 million of cash working capital, the convert becomes a current liability, then you're down in the mid-20s or so, of which 20 million was inventory. So, we believe we're going to get a bigger bounce out of that inventory, at the right time. So, I understand that, the average person that's a shareholder may not fully understand our motives, but those were a lot of the motives. We wanted to keep those inventory because, whatever the government purchases, assuming they purchase inventories, you could get, a 2x or even maybe more than that, hopefully more than that, in flexing up on the value.
Okay, so, well, thanks for sharing your motives with us, first of all. Okay, I appreciate that, and it makes sense. Can I talk about use of proceeds? There's 2 strains here. One I need to deal with.
Yeah.
Are you going to use any of your current cash available to you, you closed yesterday, to do any M&A work? Are you going to buy any of your peers?
It's always a possibility. I'm never going to say no, because that's an absolute. But it puts us in a stronger position to do the M&A. But I'll never say no. But I'm not going to say yes either.
So
how's that?
That is very politic of you. But let me ask you another way. Today, are there any plans to do any acquisitions?
Not at this point in time.
Got it. Second strand. You talk in your press release about use of proceeds. Obviously, focus on the ISR project. I assume because that could get into production soonest. Is that right? What's the order of play? Because you talk about all four assets here, right? But the ISR was number one.
We've got quite a diversified set of assets, but there's some work at Nichols Ranch that we've got some work with some increasing the flow capacity at Nichols Ranch. We've got some drilling that needs to be done at Alta Mesa. We've got other work that's we're still doing design work on the Canyon Mine. We've got the shaft sunk there, but we've still got to put in some of the facilities around the shaft. So, we're not going to, I can tell you this much, we're not going to spend all that money on until we get a little more clarity on, the outcome from the purchase program. But there are things that are longer lead time that we will, put some money in. So we're better ready than we are now, even though we're as ready as anyone out there.
Okay. You said you are best placed out of the US companies to take advantage of that announcement. So, but you're not ready to go today without spending some money to get everything up to speed. So what does that mean? How much money are we talking about?
No, look at we are. We can go today on some of our assets. They're ready to go today. But there are a lot of different variables here and that we don't know in this government purchasing program. For example, are they going to buy inventory? And I think they absolutely should, because otherwise we're going from a sort of a colder start, not a cold start, but a colder start to build up production. And the clarity on, who's going to be able to best capitalize on that. That all is will drive how much investments required at which site or sites. So, there is some uncertainty of how that would be distributed. The government did say that they thought that this purchasing program would basically, go to 2 mines or maybe a little more, but it's not designed to go to 5 or 6 mines. It's not. Now, there could be a few more mines potentially around our White Mesa Mill, but it's really focused, in my opinion, on, and when they talk mines, I believe they're talking production centers where you can actually make the yellow cake. So like White Mesa would be a mine in their terms, is the way I believe it, and perhaps 1 or 2 other ISR facilities. So there is absolutely no need to build new facilities with this current demand as we know it today. It should be focused on existing, proven facilities that have a history of delivery that are already constructed, ready to go.
Okay. White Mesa, it's a huge facility. You were saying that it's been a long time since it got near competing at processing at full capacity. Long time.
It's actually never produced at full capacity. It has a license capacity about 8 million pounds. The best it's done is around 4 million pounds. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
4.5 million pounds.
You're never going to be able to fill that. So how are you having conversations? There was one other CEO who mentioned at a presentation that he was doing, I don't know if it was a slip of the tongue or it's been misinterpreted, but they talked about using your mill to process on their behalf. Have you had conversations with other uranium companies on that topic?
Not recently, no. No one but us has the right to use White Mesa Mill right now. Does that change in time? Perhaps. But no one has line of sight to use White Mesa Mill. We do have some cleanup of an idled uranium mine that is currently going to White Mesa through an agreement there. Once that material shows up at the site, we're stockpiling it. We have the right to process that on our own schedule and desires, but we have full ownership of the uranium from that material. So yeah, no one has line of sight. A lot's going to depend on how the implementation process goes with this initial purchasing, we'll see where we go from there.
Okay, on this $150 million, because again, there's been lots of numbers floating around. We don't know the price at which the government is going to have conversations with miners. Do you know?
Well, no, I don't. Other than the quantum, the 150 million. But there's a fair amount of banter around. Oh, it's $50 or $45. Well, 45 or 50 is not enough. That is not a high enough price. That is not a sustainable price. And when people say they can make comfortable margins with $50 in the United States, they're full of something, but I don't want to say to you
smoke
exactly what that are full of. But we need prices that are well north of 50. I mean, sure, if we get $50, I mean, we're in a position, at least Energy Fuels, where we have 500,000 pounds or more of uranium that could be monetized, and that's certainly going to be a help. And we can run projects like Canyon. This doesn't mean that we can't run some of our projects, but 50 isn't a fair price. It should be north of 60 is a fair price for a sustainable price.
Okay.
So, but I do hear, it annoys me, Matt, it annoys me when people say, oh, well, all we need is 40 or all we need is 50, and they are full of it. You can, I mean, like I said, we have projects that we can mine before that, but that is at the site. That does not include the full loadings of a public company to, deliver any kind of sustainability. And I think the key thing is that this 150 million is over 10 years. So we need a sustainable solution and outcome here, not to have a flash in the pan and have people not being able to make it because the prices are too low.
Okay, so haven't had those discussions. I can hear it's a source of frustration, people speculating around the price. But let's even say it was 75, just for the sake of argument. That's a couple of million. That's £2 million we're talking about there. It's not a lot. They're still going to have to go out and
no. Look at it's. Look, again, there's a lot of moving parts here, Matt, that we don't know exactly what they are right now. But for example, and as I said, I don't know what follows, or if anything follows, with the working group when they get into more details. But I'm speculating here a bit. I believe that this first announcement is not big enough for somebody like, say, Cameco to come back in and restart their operations. So then, if that's the case, and I don't know for a fact if that is, that makes more room for ourselves and people like UR Energy. Now, I think I've told you this, that since 2004, two companies have mined 85% and produced 85% of the uranium produced in the United States, and it was Cameco and Energy Fuels. And so the two of us have the longest history of production over anyone else. Now, there are a couple projects like the Uranium One and UR Energy that didn't produce back in 2004. They started in midway, say, whether it be about 8 or 9 or 11 or 12, that also contributed a material amount of uranium. But if you include those four companies, 97% of the uranium produced since 2004 were four companies. Four companies. So there aren't a lot of us with any kind of track record of producing a material amount of new uranium. And, we are very confident that we have that track record. And, and because at the moment, what we know, the demand is smallish, there's no question. It should only go to those that can prove that they can do it and have those facilities ready to go without major capital investment.
Okay, you sound confident. If you hear anything from up on the Hill, from the White House, DOE, please give us a call. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how this thing's going to progress.
You've got my number, Matt. You know where I'm at, and I'm really always happy to have a chat with you.